Hi, and welcome to today's lesson. We're going to learn how to chop and cut fruits and vegetables without cutting yourself. And so we're going to identify some of our tools here. The first thing I have is a potato peeler. It peels more than just potatoes, and we're going to learn how to use this in a very efficient manner. The next tool I have is a zester or a grater. They come in different sizes and styles. Most of the ones you see at the store are a little bit narrower. Mine's a fairly large size one. And then I have a series of knives here. I have something called a chef's knife. It is a large knife. It has a big blade on it, usually 7 to 8 inches large. And you'll notice my fingers aren't going anywhere near the sharp part. The next thing I have is a smaller chef's knife, and then the last one I have is a paring knife. You'll notice that these ones are quite small in comparison to the large chef knife that I have here, and I've just sharpened them. Hopefully I did it right so that they're going to be fairly sharp. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to learn how to peel something without cutting ourselves and very efficiently. So we're going to start with a cucumber here, and I have noticed that a lot of people like to peel by going whackety, 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 and that's a terrible way to peel. What you want to do is you want to start towards the top of the cucumber and just take a long slide down. Now, if you want to, your cucumber blade swivels, so you can actually go back and forth and back and forth. I don't actually like to do that because, as you'll notice in the going of the back and the forthing, that sometimes you miss a section, and you don't really want to cut towards yourself anyhow because this blade is sharp. So basically start at the top, pull yourself all the way down to the bottom. You'll notice your cutting board sliding there. I could have avoided that sliding cutting board by putting a damp towel underneath it, but I didn't. And now that I've got to the end, I'm not going to cut towards myself to get this. I'm simply going to rotate this around, and again, peeling away from myself in long, fluid strokes. And you'll notice that if you were timing this, this actually took less than a minute to peel, and it's all done. Then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your paring knife or any of your knives here, and you're just going to put it flat on the cutting board and cut away from yourself to get rid of that part there. I've got a little section where it's got some peel on it, so I'm going to very carefully peel away from me, and then I'm going to take the other end and I'm going to cut that off. And now we have our handy dandy little cucumber. I'm going to shove my peels out of the way so that we can use the board here. And then I'm going to show you that you can use any knife. Again, keep your knife flat on the cutting board. I know that a lot of chefs hold them up and they cut towards themselves and stuff. They're pros. We're not. We're beginning chefs. So we're going to learn how to use the chef's knife. We're going to put it down on the ground and pretend you're shaking hands with someone. When you pick up the knife, you should be shaking hands with it. You're going to hold it fairly close to where the handle hits the blade. You're going to put your forefinger, or your very front finger there, on top of the blade so that you've got some control over that. So you can see what it looks like there. I'm close towards the blade. My fingers are there. My thumb is there. You'll notice nowhere are my fingers beneath the blade. So if you want to slice in circles, just put it on the top and give it a good front to back push. You're going to push towards the front, away from you, and you're going to get these nice, lovely slices. Now, if you want more than just a sliced cucumber, and you want to do, and you can put them in bigger or smaller circles depending on how you're doing that. I got about half of this cucumber shaken off, and I'm going to use the cucumber to slide that off there because I don't want to put my fingers near the knife. I'm fond of having my fingers, and I'm very fond of not bleeding. So as you can see, I've got my cucumber here, but what if I didn't want them in circles? What if I wanted them in spears? Well, I've got my cucumber flat here. I'm going to put my knife on top of it and give it just a little push till it bites into that. I've got my hand on top of the blade, and I'm going to push down. Now, I'm going to put the flat sides of the cucumbers down, always flat sides. You don't want it to wiggle. And then I'm just going to do that same trick again. Put it on top, give it a little push till it bites in, puts down, and now I've got my spears. So I've got cucumber spears and I've got cucumber circles, and we are ready to go. So I'm going to put these aside. And I'm going to eat these for lunch tomorrow, all right? The next thing we're going to work on is peeling an apple. And again, we're going to start with a peeler. We're not going to check to see how sharp it is because that's a good way to peel your fingers. Now, an apple, you're not going to be able to peel away from yourself. So if you just start at the top and bite into it, you'll notice my thumb is quite a distance away from that, and I'm not going to catch up to my thumb because I'm moving my hand along with the peeler, and I'm just going to continue to go in little concentric circles so that I can get my apple peeled as well as possible. Now, it is possible that sometimes I'm going to break this peel, and I would just put my peeler back onto the apple, and again, continue to go in a circle until I can get it. And you'll notice that there is no whacking or chopping at this. I am just going in little circles all the way around, and then I'm going to make sure that I get the top. Oops, I missed a spot. I'm going to get the top as much as I can. I'm going to get the bottom as much as I can, and then I'm just going to set the peel aside for the compost pile. My apple sits fairly flat there on the ground, and that's very important because we do not want it to wiggle. We're going to take that knife, again, starting from the top. Now, let me rephrase that. Depending on what you want to do with the apple, you could take a little bit off the side there, give it a flat edge. That's a lovely little piece of apple there. And I could continue to slice it like I did with the cucumbers, or I can, again, bite into the top, it's flat on the surface there, and sort of push that down through there, put them flat on the sides, top to bottom, and then I'm going to put my fingers on top of the apple, not down here, on top of the apple so that my fingers are never below the knife, and then I'm just going to slice that center off and get rid of it. Again, my fingers are on top of the apple, not below the knife, and again, we're just going to slice that center off. I got a little bit of peel there. I'm just going to use that knife. Again, my fingers are above the knife, never below. Why? Because I'm fond of my fingers. Again, you don't want to damage yourself. Apple on top, the fingers on top of the apple, and slice on down. I got a little bit of peeling there, so you can always take the potato peeler and get that off. Now, if you're making things like apple pies and cooked apples, you don't want the peel in there because the peel doesn't ever get soft, and it gives sort of an odd texture when you bite into it. And that was it. My apple is done. I've got that extra little piece of peel off there, and I can do whatever I want with it. I can, oops, get that seed off there. I can put it into slices. And again, you'll notice that my fingers are never below my knife. This one's going to have to go from top to bottom because otherwise it won't chop evenly. And I'm always picking up the stuff using the flat end of the knife towards me, never towards the blade. Because if you go towards the blade, it's too easy to slip and hurt yourself. Now we could put the apple here, but my fingers would have to be right by the knife in order to cut that. So I'm going to put that down there. I'm going to slice this like this. I'm going to slice it from the bottom again so that I don't have to worry about it. And this last piece here, and again towards you, not towards the blade, I'm just going to slice in half like that, and I have these nice, lovely apple slices, which, by the way, if you put them in a cup of water and a teaspoon of salt and let them soak for 3 to 5 minutes, you will never have to worry about it going brown for quite some time because it lasts for forever. Okay, and now we're just going to do this last little one. It's a bit thick, and I'm just going to be very careful and slice down. And again, I've got my apples all sliced and ready to go. And one more time, let's see if you can tell me the steps. Face down, fingers on top of the knife, push, 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 push. And the last one, you can flip upside down and push so that you get a nice even slice. Those are our apples. Now this zucchini is going to be really, really, really hard to peel because you know how you peel a zucchini? You don't. The peel is super soft and you don't have to worry about it. Now you'll notice I'm going to leave this end on here that's going to leave me something to hold, and I'm just going to slice the zucchini real thin down in the bottom like that. And if you do it right, and you'll notice my hand is still shaking the knife like it's a good friend, and I've got my finger on there, and if you do this right, you can get pretty even slices, and it goes pretty quickly. A zucchini is sort of a C-shaped deal, a very lopsided C-shaped deal. So you just want to make sure that you keep slicing it over and over again, and you may have to change the angle of the knife just a little teeny tiny bit so that it makes even slices. And then as you get towards the bottom and the end, you're going to be very careful. And you'll notice that since I didn't have a lot of room between the zucchini and my knife, that I took my fingers off the zucchini. I bite it into the knife and up on top of the knife. And I'm not going to slice that last little bit because it's the pits. It's the last part of it, and you don't need that. So now we got our zucchini done. We're going to set that aside. And again, remember, you don't peel the zucchini. You just have to slice it in the way you want. Now I got a little fun part here. I'm not going to do the whole thing. We're going to zest a lemon. And most of us grab the lemon zester and zest the lemon this way. I saw this on internet, so we know it must be true. Somebody said on the internet that if you take your lemon upside down and zest it upside down, that your zest will end up on top and you don't have to worry about collecting it. We're going to try and see if that works, and it's really hard for me to see where the pith is on here. Now you'll notice as I'm zesting the lemon that I'm not going very far. All I want is this very top layer of lemony skin. If I start getting into this white ooey gooey stuff, that's not going to work real well. It tastes bitter and it's icky. And well, the lemon zest is collecting on top of this thing. I don't actually like this method. I think I would rather turn it upside down and zest as normal, just because it's easier for me to do. Now this lemon is a little on the mature side, shall we say, so it's a little harder to zest. And so that's all I'm going to do. You just do it just a little teeny tiny bit so that you're only getting that outer layer. And it's going to take a while to zest this lemon. You don't need to see me do the whole thing. We're just going to set that aside there along with my lemon zest. Let me put that back on the lemon zester there. And then the last, well, not the last one, but this big piece here is a bell pepper. Now there are a bazillion different ways to cut bell peppers, but my favorite one, pick up the big chef knife. Again, we're going to shake our hands, hold it there. We've got our fingers close to the blade, and we've got our pointing finger on top, and we're going to see where this bell pepper is flat up here, fingers out of the way, and slice down. Now we're not going to waste this part, we're just going to give it a good push, the stem comes out, all of this is edible. We're going to slide those seeds off. We're going to take the bottom, see where it's got like the little, I don't know, almost like egg carton holders, and we're going to flatten that off too. And there's a whole seed on there. We're going to get rid of that seed. And again, this is perfectly good. We're going to eat that. But here's the part that I like that makes this easy. We're going to slice this bell pepper from top to bottom. And then we're going to open it up like a little book. We're going to take a smaller knife here, and we're just going to cut off the extra seeds. And again, remember, you're going to cut away from yourself. And then you're going to get rid of these ribs here because they are not particularly tasty to eat. And I just go from top to bottom there. It's all stuck. And we're going to get rid of the next rib, top to bottom. Slide, slide. And then this last rib here, top to bottom. And our bell pepper. Oops, sorry. Let's go ahead and separate that. Again, cut away from yourself, never towards yourself. And there we go. Now we've got it a little open like book. Now we're going to work on this side of the bell pepper. We don't want to work from the skin side out because the skin is hard to slice through, but we're just going to take that big chef knife again, hold it like you're shaking hands, put your finger on top, and watch this. Slice down, slice down, slice down, slice down, slice down. You'll notice my fingers are nowhere near my blade. They're further away from the bell pepper because I'm fond of cutting the bell peppers, but not my fingers. And we're just going to slice on down. It's okay if it pops up in the middle of the air because as soon as you put the knife on it, it's going to back on down anyhow. And as you just, this part's flat, so I can go like this and get a little bit easier there. And you'll notice that I had to make sure I listened to it till it hit the cutting mat, but I didn't pull them all the way. So the skin is thin. I'm just going to go like that. And then again, we're just going to finish cutting our bell pepper like this. We're just going to make our little bell pepper strips. They're going to be ready for fajitas or roasting or whatever it is we're going to do with our bell pepper. Now we're getting a little closer to our fingers, so I'm going to focus. When I get to the little end part, fingers on top of the knife, away from anything that might damage me, because I am not fond of bleeding all over my food. And again, pull towards the hard part of the knife, not the sharp part of the knife. And look at how quick that was to get all of these little itty bitty teeny tiny bell pepper spears. But miss, you've still got the top of the bottom of the bell pepper. What are you going to do? Well, that one's easy. Yeah, turn it upside down and you go slice-ity, slice-ity, slice-ity. And as soon as I get closer to my fingers, I'm going to put my finger on top of the knife and put down away from me because, yeah, you can hear me saying it because I don't want to get my food all bloody. Okay, so we got that there. And then the last one here, again, just the same thing. Slice, 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 slice. Super easy. Now, all the pieces aren't the same, and that's fine because, well, the bell pepper wasn't a perfect square. And again, once you get to the end, fingers on top of the knife and away from it. Bell pepper is done. So far we've done the bell peppers, the cucumbers, the apples, and the zucchini. Now comes the important part because we're going to cook these in class. We've got our carrots. So we're going to take our potato peeler and we're going to use our chef's knife and we're going to chop off the root and we're going to chop off the stem. And those are going to go in the compost pile. Now you'll notice that I'm not washing any of these fruits or veggies. Why? Because I already did it. Never, ever, ever peel anything you haven't already washed. Why? Because when you take your sharp potato peeler and you put it in there, you're actually grinding the skin into the flesh. And if you did not get the dirt off there, you may be actually grinding dirt in there below the ability of the sink to wash it. Now, most carrots are super long, and you can give them those long fluid strokes like we did for the cucumber. But these carrots did not come from the store. My son has been pulling carrots out of his garden all winter long, and they've been these huge, long carrots that are just absolutely gorgeous. So I didn't have any carrots in the fridge, and I went and I told him, go get me some carrots, go get me some carrots. And apparently, if you ask for carrots in January and the ground is frozen, this is what you get. So he was excited just to get these carrots at all, but you'll notice it's already peeled. And again, we're going to try this again. What's the first step? Cut off the root. What's the second step? Cut off the stem. What's the next step? Hold the carrot away from you and long fluid strokes away from you. And, oops, if you miss a spot, it's okay to go back and get it. Long fluid strokes away from you. And then when you're done, flip in the other direction. And again, you peel away from you. Now, I know that some of you have not done it this way, and some of you have tried the let's peel it towards me department, where you put it up against the fruit and you peel it towards you. And, well, it's a good thing the nurse gives you bandages because some of you discovered why you don't peel carrots that way, or apples, or anything else like that. So that is everything I needed to slice and dice, except, oops, get off my board there. And I'm going to use the back of this to scrape that off, not my fingers. And then I need to cut my carrots. Now, I just want to do carrot rounds, so I'm just going to be very simple, and my carrot is resting on the board right there. If it wasn't resting really good, I would probably just find a semi-flat spot and peel it one more time. And guess what? Oops. You can eat the peel because, hey, raw carrots taste delicious. You just put it down and put the knife on the block there, or the cutting board, and use it as a balancer and just slice down. Keep your fingers far away from that knife. Don't go too fast so you know what you're doing. When you get closer to your finger, again, we're going to do the whole knife on the top, push down thing, fingers on the, oops, get out of there, fingers on the top of the carrot, and push down thing. That was easy enough. Let's do it again. Again, for the little parts of the carrot, we're going to balance the knife on the cutting board so that we have a place to just slide up and down, up and down, up and down. When we get closer, to the knife. Or our fingers, we're going to put our knife on top of the carrot and push down with our hand firmly on top of the knife, never below the blade. Never below the blade. Let's see if I can get 2 slices out of here. And ta-da!